You are listening to the Connect with Us podcast from Connect English Community. The Connect with Us podcast is a fun conversation about all kinds of things that take place in and around our English learning community. We'll talk about different sides of the languages and cultures in which we live and learn every day. And we invite you to join us on this journey so that by connecting with us, we can encourage you along the way.
Connect with us, and we'll connect you to the world.
Welcome to the Connect with Us podcast.
All right.
Before we enjoy this journey of us in this podcast, you may be curious about who are these people. We are from Fajar Impian Nusa Bangsa. It's an English center based in Bandar, Lampung City, Indonesia. Yeah, and we all are employees of the English center. I'm Ade, and I am the primary director. Too fancy. I work here for about 5 years. I'm from Indonesia, obviously, you can see. And I work here to manage the company and facilitate activities, teach classes, and soon to be running this podcast, hosting this podcast, actually. I will be the host, yeah? So I hope you won't be tired listening to my voice. But I am here today with my two amazing friends. They are also part of the company, and I will have them introduce themselves. Go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Eric, and you can probably tell that I'm not from Indonesia, at least not originally.
Are you not?
Yeah. So I'm from the United States. I'm American, and I've been in Indonesia for a long time, altogether about 15 years this April. Yeah, so pretty exciting stuff. But yeah, I've lived in a couple of different cities, but I'm really happy to now be here in Bandar Lampung with my good friends, Ade and Gary. And yeah, we really enjoy working together. My role here at the company is as the director of operations. And so I'm mostly the planner. I do all the boring details stuff.
He's good at it.
Thinking about what we're going to be doing 6 months from now is kind of my job. So yeah, there you go. So I'm the detail guy. Miss Ade is the one who directs the company. And Gary is famous.
Yes.
So here it is.
We're so lucky to have him.
Okay, guys, Connectees. My name is Gary Ardian, and I am a social media person at Connect. Besides of that, I'm a writer, influencer, YouTuber, podcaster. I don't know, yeah, but I am the social media person at Connect.
That's why he has the headset.
Yeah, that's why if you see the video, I wearing a headset. Then maybe you don't know if I'm Indonesian or not, but I'm truly Indonesian right now.
Middle Eastern, maybe. All right. It's gonna be a very fun journey. We would like to share with you just about a lot of things here in podcast, yeah? And maybe for most of people who are listening to this podcast, they might have heard about Connect, or they have been part of Connect.
Oh, come
but
on.
we hope actually more and more people from all over the world will listen, to the podcast. They probably want to know what Connect is, yeah? So I will try to explain it or to share with you the more technical what Connect is, but my two friends will give you more details about what we do. So Connect is actually one of the programs that we have here at the company. It's designed as a community for people to join, and they can be part of the community to learn and practice English. All right, so guys, help me. Fill it in with more details.
Me first. All right. Sounds good. So yeah, I think Connect has a lot of things that are maybe typical for some English courses, but we also have a lot of things that are unusual or atypical also. And I think that's maybe the things that stick out the most to me because they're not maybe normal at a lot of other English courses. And so our main activity here, we have what we call hangout time. And hangout time is basically an opportunity where all of our friends can come in at any time between 4 and 7, several days a week, just to practice their English. And so we have some free time where they can just practice speaking with each other. But then we also have a lot of time where we plan an activity, but the activity is not like a formal class, but they can just come in and enjoy sharing with each other about different things. And so as that happens, then you get to really know people and become close friends. So we often hang out outside of Connect too. And so, for that reason, a lot of us think of this kind of as our second home, where we like to spend our time when we're not busy doing something else.
All right.
So that is Connect from the eye of business, the company style. But for me, Connect is more like a family, because we learn anything here, not just for learn about English. I have learned about many things beside English. So because of our communities and Connect is close each other, it's more feels like the vibes and all the activities here feels that like this is my second family. So Connect is more than just a community. It's more like, I think I have a father and mother here.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
But I'm sure it's not us, because we're way too young. We're way too young to be his father and mother. But we are very glad he's here.
Yes, we are. So that's kind of a brief, description about Connect. So this podcast is called, once again, the Connect with Us podcast. You might curious, or maybe you can guess, our name is Connect English Community. But we have this tagline or motto or whatever it is called. Do you guys still remember?
Yes.
Let's say it together, all right? 1, 2, 3.
Connect with us and we'll connect you to the world.
Yes. So
sounds good, right?
Absolutely, it's perfect. So connect with us. That's the part, and then we take it to name our podcast. So I think, the listener, people who listen to this podcast might want to know why connect with us. Why is it chosen as kind of like the tagline or motto of Connect itself?
Okay, Magari.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I think there are a lot of reasons, but one of the ones that's probably the biggest is just the fact that if you want to master English, if you want to really improve your English, you can't do it on your own. You can learn about grammar and structure and vocabulary words and things like that from a book, but you really can't learn English or any other language from a book. You've got to be able to interact with people.
Yep,
and so that connection with other people is really important for being able to learn the language. And so our hope is that by doing not just the podcast, but with other things that we do, that people are learning to connect with other people in a way that's going to help them learn. And I think the second reason for me is just like what Gary was talking about earlier, the family feel or environment. Even if you are communicating with people, if you just kind of see them once and then that's it, it's difficult to really go a lot deeper, both in your relationship or friendship with them, but also with the language. Okay. And so by really relating to people, then it helps us, I think, learn language better. Because language and culture are kind of like a married couple, like you don't really get one without the other.
Exactly.
And so I think by connecting with people, it helps us to kind of figure those dynamics out a little bit better.
And here, like, even though our focus is more English, but at the same time, when you're learning any language, it has a lot to do with confidence. And that connection often, because you grow that kind of sense of camaraderie, or family, it helps you to be comfortable and just grow together in confidence. And obviously, when you learn English, it will also build confidence when you have a chance to be connected with the native speakers. We do have one here, but so we do connect the members with at least one native speaker of English here. And but besides that, we do connect them with more people that do not live here in Indonesia, either when they come to visit us here, or maybe introduce them, to the people that we are connected to. So it's kind of like a concept of building relationship, and that as we learn together and grow together, and the confidence is there too.
Yes. Confidence is key.
Yes.
Very good. So that's why we love the fact that we connect people, and that is part of the learning too. So for what we're going to share here at Connect, more specifically is about what we experience and we learn together, or what we enjoy here at Connect. Could you guys maybe, or each and every one of us, maybe share maybe some examples, Like Eric mentioned earlier about activities and hangout, but what are in those that later we will share here at on our podcast too? Yes, go ahead. Don't be shy, Gary. Go ahead.
Me first. Okay. What is I learned from Connect is mostly when I went to hangout time. My favorite is when we discuss about everything, because the peer groups one is more enjoyable for me to learn about English, and not because of the way we learn, but about the topics, the positivity, and all the topics is make me feel that I can learn about many things here, not just about English. So I become more productive and become more a better person since I joined Connect.
All right.
Is that good English?
Getting better all the time, Gary.
Yes, progress. That's what's important. Yes.
Yes. So, and that's one of the things that we actually wanted for you guys to be able to see with the podcast that we do and hear, is that we're going to invite all different kind of guests on, and even obviously Miss Ade and I have different levels of English. Gary has a different level of English. All the members that we'll have on at different points in time have different levels of English. And so with that, we want to just encourage all of you, wherever you are, however good or bad your English is, that the main idea to get better is to use it.
Yes.
And so by giving people an opportunity to come on the podcast, they're getting a chance to practice their English in a way they wouldn't get to otherwise. So it helps them. And hopefully for those of you out there that are just starting to learn English, it will encourage you to realize that, hey, other people are struggling trying to figure some of these things out too. So
Exactly.
back to the original question about what are some of my favorite activities. So I agree with Gary. I think my favorite activity is probably peer groups. But there's some others that are pretty exciting too. One of the ones that we've done is called Conversation on Location. And we basically turned part of Connect into a different setting each week. And so we did like at the store, at the restaurant. We even sold houses one time in the real estate market. And so just turning the context into something that's maybe sometimes predictable, but often not, because life is very often not predictable. So it's good to have to learn to use your English in ways that you're not used to it, because it forces you to learn, some new vocabulary. I also think it's really special or exciting that we've been able to have a chance to take some of our members on trips outside of the country, to places where people use English maybe more commonly or more often than they do here. We don't quite have enough funds to be able to take them to the U.S. or Australia or a country like that, but to go to neighboring countries where English is spoken a lot more widely than it is here. And so that gives them a chance to go to a new environment in a new culture, like we were talking about before, and learn how to use their English to actually communicate with people. And so it's fun to be able to see our members traveling outside of the country for the first time, using their English with people they don't know for the first time, and to see them come back from those trips and feel like, hey, like that was fun and I could do it and it worked. And so that makes them a lot more excited then for the learning process and for their next trip somewhere else. So I think that's...
For me, besides the activities initiated, I really enjoy we actually have about an hour or an hour and a half where we usually visit with each other. We play games. I love playing games.
Yes, you are.
I got competitive sometimes,
Yes.
I have to admit. But I enjoy visiting with each other, with our members, and listen to how their days are and just, what they're going through. And sometimes even it could get serious. But when they have a chance to share and I can maybe help a little bit, it's something that I really enjoy. Yeah. So here at Connect, I guess if I may quickly right now to choose 2 keywords, like in journal, maybe learning and fun. I mean, there are more, but I would like to pick those 2. And that actually would be the concept too of our podcast. And I want you to think of learning. So it's not going to be like an English class, but it's going to be conversation, sharing about a lot of things that we find here at our community.
Yes.
So don't worry. So because it's going to be relatable. It's about daily life.
Yep.
And maybe like Eric said earlier about struggle in learning something.
Yep.
Or, learning how to be confident.
That's
And
true, because for
other
me
things.
it's more like English class right now.
I know, but it's gonna be with a lot of more topic,
Yep.
yeah, and we're gonna enjoy it. And I mean, even by only listening, you already learn. Yeah, you listen, and then once you see this posted on our YouTube channel, you can comment, put something on the comment section. You can ask questions, and we can help you through that. Yeah, so it's very exciting. I mean, I'm excited. So besides listening, actually, what we would like to add, or maybe try to have every time we have the episode, is to share some maybe new vocabulary that you can never get enough vocabulary, even in American, yeah? Which, by the way, since we have American native speaker and American guest, we use American English, yeah? Don't ask me to do British English because I can't.
Yeah,
I just can't.
Nobody wants that.
None of us, I mean. But American English is great, and especially for new learners, in my opinion, it's more, it's easier. It's not easy, but it's easier compared to other accent, in my opinion. So for today, I am curious. When I am asked to prepare this podcast, which is my first time, I was thinking about the word podcast. What is podcast, and why is it called podcast? Because when I heard the word pod, my brain brings me to like peanuts or even like cacao, because it's in a pod. But why is it? What does it have to do with broadcasting? So Gary, share with us. What podcast is? Where does it come from?
Before today, I never know about what is podcast is. What I know about podcast is just radio on demand. Like you talk about something, then you post it online. Just that. Mm-hmm. So I'm a bad podcaster right now. No. Because I don't know what a podcast is, but I know that is a platform for you share about anything you want to, and it don't have to have don't have to have don't have to have FM frequency. So you just should have account and then post it online, and you can share everything to all of your listeners.
All right.
That is podcast radio on demand. Is that true?
Okay, yes, that's true. And I think we could also talk about like the etymology.
Okay.
Yeah, so etymology is...
So I don't have any idea about that.
Usually, etymology is where a word comes from. Like how is it first started used, and kind of like the history of how people start to use that word. So our good teacher right here will share with us the etymology of the word podcast.
Gary earlier pretended that he was a bad podcaster.
No.
He's not a bad podcaster.
No.
He's a very good podcaster. However, he is a very young podcaster.
I know.
And that is why I think he didn't know what the word means or where it came from.
Yeah.
So those of us who are a little bit older, not very old, just older. Those of us who are a little bit older were around when the first podcast happened, and so it's easier for us to figure out where the word comes from. So a long time ago, before smartphones.
Before I was born?
No, not before you were born. but before you were broadcasting. So a long time ago, we had these things called iPods. And so iPods were before smartphones. And basically, it was an opportunity for you to be able to listen to music and different things without having to buy a bunch of CDs or cassettes and so on. And so the iPod was developed by Apple, like a lot of other things. And then over time, they started doing the radio on demand that was put onto the iPod. And so it was an iPod broadcast. And so there we got the word podcast to make it a little shorter. So Gary's not wrong, but the reason it's called a podcast, the pod doesn't come from cocoa or beans or anything else, but the pod comes from the iPod, which was the little pod, the little electronic box that played music before we got it all on our phones. So.
I dug a little bit deeper on Google, obviously. So I was curious, basically. So it was actually started in 2004. Yes, 2004.
Okay,
You were born.
I was born at 24.
And
Elementary school.
you do not have to say that. It's not necessary. Okay, so
Just to make sure we are from a different generation.
Again, not necessary. But I will admit we are. So there is a former video jockey of MTV. So his name is Adam Curry. Yeah, and he worked with software developer Dave Weiner, and Curry wrote a program. This program is called iPodder, and this program actually automatically or enabled him to automatically download the internet radio broadcast to his iPod.
Wow.
Yeah, and once this is all started, that's when the podcast born. And just other people started to develop it and makes it more widely for the world. So
okay, so
that's
if we are do podcasts, we call podcaster or iPodster.
Well, iPodder is the name of the program when it initially, but then after like it was widely used, they changed it into podcast because it's no longer just on iPod. Yes,
Okay.
it's iPod, and the person like Gary
And
did
all of
it's
us
called,
right now?
podcaster. Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
are
official.
Officially
It's official. Yes.
as a podcaster right now.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you for witnessing this very important moment.
Very historical.
Very historic, yes.
I'm sure this will be written about for ages to come.
The rite of passage. All right. Well, again, we are very excited to record more and more episode. Look at
Yes.
Gary. He's dancing.
He can't contain his excitement.
Yes. So make sure you stay tuned on our media and channel, which Eric knows better, and these two guys knows better than I do.
Yes, so hopefully you are listening to us through the Connect Global English Gateway app.
Yes.
And just in case you found us some other way, that's great too. But in whatever way you're following us, make sure that you leave us a comment, let us know what you like, and maybe if you have some ideas for future podcasts. But also make sure you like,
Yes.
comment, and subscribe. Yes, so you'll get all the information, and you can even click the little bell if you're watching on YouTube and turn on the notifications.
Exactly. All right. Thank you very much for listening to us, and see you again in the next episode of
Connect with us, and we'll connect you to the world.
Connect with us, and we'll connect you to the world.